Hello everyone, I'm Ronald Mehta and welcome back to marketing91.com. We provide management and marketing training to students and professionals worldwide through our courses, videos and community. This video is part of our comprehensive take on the gamut of human resource management. Let's start with the gamut of probation period. There is a trial phase that new employees at a company have to serve as a part of the company's policy. This is referred to as a probation period. Before the company hands him or her a confirmation letter, any employee has to undergo this probation period. In this period of time, the employer and the employee become more acquainted. Moving on, what happens in a probation period? A recruit's suitability for the task and duties assigned to him or her will be assessed by the employer or management during the probationary term. A person's work ethic, compliance with rules and regulations, and the ability to work with others are all factors that employers may consider. On the other side, a new employee can determine whether they feel comfortable with the job role and responsibilities assigned to him or her. Probation periods typically last 3 to 6 months in most of the companies. Moving further, this is a good opportunity to take advantage of the probationary time. Additionally, it is a great time for the new employee to consider other factors such as the travel time, working hours, and comfortable office space. If things are not satisfactory at the end of the probationary period, the employee may choose to leave the organization or the employer may terminate the employment agreement. Moving further. So do you get paid in the probation period? Employees on probation are entitled to pay, but their salary might not include any privileges or benefits and it can be lesser than a full-time employee's pay. According to the average salaries for employees on probation, salaries for government positions are frequently fixed. The private sector, though, does not provide any such commitments. Advantages like free conveyance, maternity leave, health insurance, etc. should be discussed. It's best to confirm your probation period income during the hiring process. It might be helpful to learn how to negotiate your salary and request a raise if you believe it is justified and in case you're confirmed to continue working as a permanent employee. Next, is it important to complete the probation period? Well-informed decision making is the key here. It is crucial to persevere and carefully consider all the advantages and disadvantages of the position while you are in your probation period. Hasty decision-making will result in forfeiting good opportunities by quitting the job. Hence, being patient is the key. Next, skills and knowledge are important to acquire. While studying the ins and outs of the industry you are a part of, the probation term becomes a great opportunity to pick up or sharpen your abilities. You might also identify new areas of interest, learn how to improve the current system, and gain a greater understanding of how the business runs during the process. Next, abilities and strengths can be showcased during this period. To demonstrate one's best skills, probation periods are the most ideal times. This also shows the commitment of the employees towards the organization. Traits that might convince an employer that you can continue after the probation term is by being an accountable and approachable colleague, an employee managing workloads, meeting deadlines, etc., which showcases that you are qualified for the position. And finally, full-time work and its advantages. While on probation, even if you receive a paycheck, the same rewards and advantages as regular work are not provided. You become qualified for raises, higher income, promotions, and perks like health insurance if you stay after the probation period. Moving on. Now, there are some cases of extension of a probation period. The probation period in some cases extended more than the set date by companies. It is, as the name implies, a prolongation of your probationary period. There are various reasons why an employee's probation period is extended by the reporting manager or the employer. It so happens that sometimes to assess the employee's performance, the probation term provided is not sufficient. It calls for a probation period extension. Before a confirmed position is provided, tasks or projects assigned to the employee need to be finished. Further observation in order for the employer to make a more informed judgment in cases where modifications or discrepancies in the employee's work are observed. Moving on. Now here are some tips to successfully complete your probation period. First, learning throughout the probation period through observation. Well, next, a good attitude towards work takes you a long way, which is observed by your peers. Put in all your efforts. Develop a good rapport with your co-workers and peers. Criticism should be taken positively and worked upon. And development in your work should be kept track of. And last and the most important, avoid the office gossip. Moving on to a case study of how UAE witnessed revisions in its labor laws. In Feb 2022, the labor laws of UAE underwent significant modifications that made it simpler for employees to change jobs by strengthening the protection of employee rights. It covers various aspects like declining to work during a notice period if the employee can demonstrate abuse on part of the employer. The ability to start working for a rival company right away after quitting and shorter probation periods are a few of the revisions included in the labor laws of UAE. An employee must consent to probation at the beginning of the employment because it is not a mandatory condition of employment. Moving on, maximum duration of 6 months is observed for the probation period now. However, it can vary from company to company. Few employees often go through a 2 or 3 month probationary term. Employees and employers can agree on the duration of the probation period, which can be as short as 1 month, set by the head of labor complaints at the Ministry of Human Resource and Emeritation. Rights such as salary and leave days will be applicable immediately after completing the probation period, is also stated by the minister. Speaking to the National, new labor rules allow for the complete cancellation of the probation, said Ashraf Sakar, a legal expert. Well, laws of termination. Under the previous labor law, employees on probation could have been fired without prior intimation. However, there is currently not the case anymore. All probationary employees will receive a 14-day notice before being let go by their employers as a part of the new legislation mandate in UAE. Finally, let's look at some advantages of the probationary period. Let's look at the advantages for the employer first. You can determine if an employee is a good fit for your company during a probation period. If a new employee is displaying the same potential that you saw in them throughout the application interview process, this is the time to assess them. The trial period gives you a safety net and enables you to fire the employee if it turns out that they don't live up to your expectations or you find they are unfit for the job. And finally, the probation period guards you against being stuck with a poorly performing employee. If it transpired that the credentials claimed by a new hire were inflated and you discover they are not up to the job's expectation, well, it's like a parachute here. And finally, the advantages to the employee. The employee can utilize this time to determine whether the company is suitable for them, just as the employer is putting the worker to test. This is the time for the employee to gauge if they are suitable for the culture of the company and whether the position is as described in the job description and the interview. They can assess their compatibility with their line manager and co-workers, as well as assess workload and duties. Additionally, training and mentoring are also one of the ways companies use this probation period for new hires. And finally, it offers an incredible opportunity for learning and growth from the employee's perspective. So that's it, folks. This brings an end to the topic on probation period. These are the list of sources and links referred to for our content in the video. Thank you and stay tuned for more videos.